Hi, it's Megan. In this video, we're going to go over what your first constellation will look like. So you're going to want a tabletop in front of you, a flat surface, little pieces of paper, post-it notes are fine, and a pen. Also, you're going to want to be in an uninterrupted, quiet space so that you can really focus and tuning into the field. We usually go around 90 minutes to 2 hours for the first constellation. We are taking this opportunity to do as much work as possible with your spirit team. So this first constellation can be pretty intense. So we want to schedule at least the 2 hours. In the beginning of the session, you and I will talk. I'll ask you questions about what it is your intentions are for this constellation. As you are talking, I am writing down notes and I'm making connections. So whatever it is you're desiring, whatever your issue is, there may be an ancestral or a systemic or a split part that is the cause of the issue. So as we continue through the initial part when we're conversing, I may ask you questions about your ancestral lineage. You may or may not know these answers, so you may not know anything about great-grandparents. Oftentimes when we don't know about an ancestor, that may be where there is trauma. So oftentimes trauma wasn't talked about in the family, so that could be a clue as to, hey, something's back there that may be still lingering with in your family field that maybe you are entangled with today. So we will talk about 20 or so minutes in the beginning of the session, and then when we are ready, we'll begin to constellate. So constellating is when we are accessing the field. So the field will be this flat table in front of us, and I'll go through this one step at a time. It's important to know that in a constellation, you can't get it right and you can't get it wrong. You're literally following your intuition. Through the constellation, I will be working behind the scenes, and I will also be receiving messages directly from your ancestors, your spirit team, that I may speak to you, but this is about you. This is about you experiencing and receiving the messages yourself. So if there are additional messages that they want me to give you on top of what you are receiving me, I will communicate those. So when the constellation begins, we'll, for example, have you place yourself in. We're always going to draw an arrow up top for each part that we're putting in the field. So that's the direction in which the part, person, thing is facing in the field. So we're drawing that arrow. So let's say we're going to place you into the field first. So you'll write me. So when we place you in, I'll have you place yourself in just following your intuition, and you'll place yourself wherever feels appropriate to you, whatever direction you're facing. So I will have my camera face down and I will be mirroring what you're doing. So you're going to be mirroring what we are constellating here in the field. So you're going to do the same thing with your post-it notes on your tabletop, if that makes sense. So when we place these parts in and we place our hand on these parts, that's when we begin to experience the sense of channeling energy and information through the field. So for example, when you place your hand on the representation for you, you're going to begin to notice certain things. So noticing what you're noticing, emotions will come through, memories will come through, and so all of this is part of your constellation. So as the constellation unfolds, we may put in family members, we may put in ancestors, there may be parts of you that are showing up as having fractured from you. So we may be putting in your 5-year-old self, whatever it is that is supporting you in your healing, coming back home to the self for your wholeness. So there may be entanglements or attachments to release. We will work through that. And there may be, again, parts of yourself to return back to the self. We will be working with your spirit team. Oftentimes, we are bringing them in as support. So perhaps let's just put in a few parts. So let's just say we're putting in my ancestors, your ancestors of support. So we're going to place them, let's say we're placing them in front of you so that you can see them. And again, placing our hand on the parts, so placing your hand on your ancestors of support, and also placing your hand on you, you're going to begin to channel seeing certain ancestors, feeling them. There are going to be messages that come through. Again, you are going to be standing in their shoes, receiving these messages directly, receiving the support and information directly. And in addition, I will also be receiving additional information, communication, support, which I will share with you out loud. Throughout the constellation, sentences of truth, healing sentences may come through, and I may ask you to speak those sentences out loud. They may be sentences like acknowledging the unhealed trauma in the family. They may be acknowledging, oh, this is the pattern in the family. So it may be like, nobody, we may be saying this into the field, nobody carried their own pain, or I have been carrying this for you. When we say those sentences, I have been carrying this for you, the sentences of truth, that's when the movements of healing begin to happen in your family system. You will literally begin to feel yourself being unsentenced, unentangled when you speak these sentences of truth. So we're supporting your ancestors to carry their own fate from their lifetime, and that's releasing you from carrying their burdens, from entangling with them. So this is a process of healing, of coming back home to wholeness. So let's also, for example, bring your spirit team in. We're going through this really fast. Normally we don't go this fast during a constellation. So let's just say my spirit team. And again, your spirit team will be working with us, my spirit guides. That's what I started to write. So we're going to write my spirit guides. Your guides, your higher self, your ancestors will be working with us through the constellation. So we can place your spirit guides next to you, for example. And again, placing your hand on the representation, that's when you begin to channel the energy and information of whatever is being represented. So let's just take a few moments to feel into, okay, so for example, right now, when we place your spirit guides in, you may be sensing communication. So in the constellation, you'll discover how is it your spirit team, your guides, do communicate with you. So we're using not just our 5 senses, we're connecting to the field, connecting to our senses beyond so using our intuition, our right brain. So how do our guides communicate with us? So during the constellation, you'll receive messages, communication, guidance, support, and again, you'll receive, and then I will also receive additional messages to help support you. So in conclusion, whatever it is your issue or your desire, the field is always working towards wholeness, completion, and support for your greatest good. So in the 90 minutes of constellation, we are helping you come back to wholeness, coming back home to the self, releasing what is not you, and again, returning the parts of you that are you. So you can experience yourself standing in your strength with healthy boundaries, whole, complete, and present. Between now and your session, expect your senses, your connection to the field to be heightened. So communication from your spirit team to you, from your ancestors, will be heightened. Synchronicities, dreams, conversations that you have will support you for yourself now and for the constellation. So be in tune, so listen, receive these messages, these guidance. They will be preparing you for your constellation. Also, after the constellation, you're going to want to rest. Being in nature is very supportive, grounding, earthing, being in water. Basically not doing anything that's going to cause any sensory overload, so continuing to receive. The healing movement that you are creating, the healing movement from your constellation is for you, and it's spreading to your family and spreading to all over the universe. So this healing movement will continue to unfold throughout your lifetime. So continue to receive from the constellation always. I thank you for hearing the calling, for being the one in your family to stand up and facilitate healing, for giving this gift to yourself and to all of us. I'll see you in the field.